In the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, where the laughter of children often echoed through the trees, the Watts family had once thrived in the embrace of a seemingly perfect life. But beneath the surface, a storm brewed, a tempest of domestic violence that would shatter the very foundation of their home. Christopher Lee Watts, the husband and father, was a man who wore many masks, a charismatic figure who could charm the birds from the trees. But behind that facade was a monster, a man who would go on to commit the heinous crime of murdering his own wife and their 2 young daughters, a darkness that would cast a long shadow over the lives of those who knew him. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation was born from the ashes of this unimaginable tragedy, a beacon of light that aimed to illuminate the darkness and shed light on the silent epidemic of domestic violence that plagues so many. As the foundation grew, it became a place of healing and hope, where survivors could find solace and support. They organized events, workshops, and seminars, all designed to educate and empower those who were affected by domestic violence. The foundation's message was simple yet powerful. No one deserves to live in fear, and everyone has the right to live a life free from abuse. The foundation's commitment to their cause was unwavering. They worked tirelessly to raise awareness, to fund research, and to provide resources for those in need. They partnered with local organizations, government agencies, and advocacy groups, creating a coalition that was dedicated to eradicating domestic violence from society. They knew that this was a long and arduous journey, but they were determined to take it one step at a time. As the foundation looked to the future, they were filled with a sense of optimism. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. The foundation's success was not measured by the number of lives they had touched, but by the lives they had saved. They had helped countless individuals find the strength to leave abusive relationships, to seek help, and to rebuild their lives from the ground up. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The foundation had become a symbol of the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. The foundation's annual gala was a night of celebration and remembrance, a time to honor the lives of the Watts family and to celebrate the progress that had been made. The room was filled with a sea of faces, each one a testament to the impact that the foundation had made. They heard from survivors who had found the courage to speak out, from advocates who were tirelessly working to change the laws and policies that allowed domestic violence to thrive, and from the families of those who had lost loved ones to this insidious crime. As the evening drew to a close, the foundation's president stood before the crowd, her voice filled with emotion. "We have come a long way since that fateful day," she said, her eyes scanning the faces of those gathered. "But there is still much work to be done. We must continue to stand together, to fight for the rights of all individuals, and to create a world where no one has to live in fear." The crowd erupted into applause, their voices a powerful echo of the foundation's message. They knew that the road ahead would be challenging, that they would face setbacks and obstacles. But they also knew that they were not alone, that they had a community that stood with them, a community that was committed to the cause. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation was more than just a foundation. It was a movement, a call to action. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a light to guide us, a hope to fuel our spirits, and a future to look forward to. And so, the foundation continued to stand, a testament to the enduring power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the tranquil town of Arvada, Colorado, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a silent sentinel against the darkness that once overshadowed the lives of the Watts family. It was a place where memories of a loving family were honored, where the echoes of laughter and the scent of home-cooked meals lingered, a testament to the love that once filled the Watts home. The Foundation's mission was clear: to ensure that the memory of Christopher Lee Watts and his family would never be forgotten, and to use their tragic story as a beacon of hope for others who had suffered similar fates. Under the guidance of dedicated volunteers, the Foundation organized events and workshops that educated the community on the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of mental health awareness. They invited survivors to share their stories, hoping that by hearing their voices, others might find the courage to seek help. The Foundation's programs reached beyond the confines of Arvada, spreading their message of prevention and healing to communities across the nation and even overseas. Year by year, the Foundation grew stronger, bolstered by the unwavering support of local businesses, churches, and concerned citizens. Donations poured in, providing the necessary resources to fund their initiatives, from the construction of a safe house for survivors to the distribution of educational materials in schools and workplaces. The growing number of volunteers reflected the community's commitment to the cause, with many stepping forward to help organize events, provide counseling services, and simply lend a listening ear to those in need. The Foundation's annual vigil, held on the anniversary of the Watts family's tragic deaths, became a poignant reminder of the pain that had once consumed their lives. Families and friends gathered, holding candles and releasing balloons into the sky, a symbolic gesture of releasing their grief and honoring the lives that had been lost. It was a night of reflection, a time to remember the victims and to commit to the ongoing fight against domestic violence. But the Foundation's work extended far beyond the annual vigil. They partnered with local law enforcement agencies to improve protocols for handling domestic violence cases, worked with social services to provide additional support for survivors, and collaborated with mental health professionals to develop programs aimed at preventing violence before it ever started. They also advocated for stricter laws and better resources for victims, pushing for change at both the state and federal levels. Despite the immense challenges they faced, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation remained optimistic. They saw the growing number of individuals who had reached out for help, the increasing number of survivors who had found strength and healing through their programs, and the countless lives that had been touched by their message of hope. They understood that the road to recovery was long and arduous, but they were determined to walk it with those who needed them most. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They were not just a foundation. They were a community, a family, and a symbol of the enduring human spirit that refuses to be extinguished by darkness. In the heart of a small, tight-knit community, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had become a beacon of light in the shadow of unimaginable loss. The story of Christopher Lee Watts and the heinous crimes he committed against his own family had left an indelible mark on the town, but it was also a catalyst for change. The foundation, established in the wake of the tragedy, was dedicated to ensuring that the memory of the Watts family would live on not just as a cautionary tale, but as a source of inspiration. As the foundation delved deeper into its mission, it began to weave together a tapestry of support and solidarity. Volunteer groups sprouted like wildflowers, each one dedicated to raising awareness about domestic violence and offering a helping hand to those who needed it most. The outpouring of donations was staggering, with local businesses, schools, and even strangers from across the country contributing to the cause. Each contribution, no matter how small, was a testament to the collective will to make a difference. The foundation's reach extended beyond the borders of their community, forging partnerships with national organizations and advocacy groups. These alliances were crucial in expanding their impact, allowing them to share resources, knowledge, and hope. They organized workshops and seminars, inviting experts to speak on the signs of abuse and the importance of early intervention. They hosted candlelight vigils and awareness campaigns, using the power of community to shine a light on the dark corners where domestic violence thrived. But the Foundation's most powerful tool was the story of resilience. They shared the stories of survivors, of those who had faced the horrors of domestic violence and emerged stronger. They highlighted the courage of law enforcement and the tireless efforts of social workers who fought tirelessly to protect vulnerable individuals. These stories were not just about overcoming adversity. They were about the human spirit's capacity to heal and to rebuild. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, yet cautious. They understood that the road to change was long and fraught with challenges, but they were determined to keep pushing forward, to keep fighting for the rights of those who had been silenced. They knew that their work was not just about preventing future crimes. It was about creating a culture where violence was not tolerated and where every individual felt safe and valued. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They were not just survivors of a tragedy. They were architects of a new beginning, a future where the memory of the Watts family would be honored not just in silence, but in action. The Foundation's commitment to education was unwavering. They partnered with schools to integrate anti-violence curricula into the regular classroom, ensuring that students were equipped with the knowledge and tools to recognize and respond to domestic abuse. They organized parent workshops, where adults could learn how to talk to their children about safety and the importance of standing up against bullying and harassment. The Foundation also recognized the need for mental health support and worked to create a network of resources for those affected by domestic violence. They collaborated with local therapists and counselors to offer free or low-cost sessions for survivors, providing them with the space to heal and the strength to move forward. They understood that healing was a journey, and they were committed to walking alongside every step of the way. The Foundation's efforts did not go unnoticed. They received numerous awards and recognitions for their groundbreaking work, and their story was featured in national news outlets and documentaries. Yet, despite the accolades, they remained grounded in their mission, knowing that every award was a reminder of the work that still needed to be done. As the years passed, the Foundation continued to grow, evolving with the needs of the community. They expanded their programs to include support for those affected by human trafficking, another form of domestic violence that often went unchecked. They hosted awareness events, bringing together local leaders, activists, and survivors to discuss solutions and share their experiences. One of the most significant developments was the establishment of a scholarship program for students who had been impacted by domestic violence. The scholarships provided financial assistance and mentorship, helping to ensure that these young people could pursue their dreams and break the cycle of abuse. The Foundation also launched a hotline, staffed by trained volunteers who were ready to listen and offer support to anyone in need. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation's journey was not without its setbacks. There were moments of doubt and frustration, when it seemed as though progress was slow and the battles were too numerous. But the Foundation's board members, volunteers, and supporters never wavered in their commitment. They believed in the power of their mission and in the potential of their community to rise above the darkness. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, yet realistic. They knew that the fight against domestic violence was a marathon, not a sprint. They were prepared for the long haul, determined to keep pushing forward, to keep raising awareness, to keep providing support, and to keep honoring the memory of the Watts family. In the face of adversity, the Foundation's story was a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times there was light. It was a story of hope, of resilience, and of the enduring power of love and compassion. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome, to heal, and to create a better world for all. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's journey was one etched in the hearts of many, a beacon of light amidst the darkness. The story of Christopher Lee Watts and the harrowing loss of his family had left an indelible mark on the community, but it was the subsequent formation of the Watts Family Memorial Foundation that began to weave a tapestry of healing and hope. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, their spirits bolstered by the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. Each volunteer, every donor, and every partner was a testament to the power of collective action, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, there was strength to be found in unity. The Foundation's efforts were multifaceted, reaching out to those affected by domestic violence, providing resources and support to survivors, and educating the public on the signs and symptoms of abuse. They organized workshops, seminars, and awareness campaigns, all aimed at fostering a culture of respect and empathy. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The Foundation's programs were designed to empower individuals, to help them recognize the warning signs of abuse, and to provide them with the tools to seek help. They worked closely with local law enforcement, social services, and mental health professionals to ensure that survivors had access to the resources they needed. The Foundation also collaborated with schools to implement anti-bullying initiatives, aiming to prevent the cycle of violence from starting in the first place. As the Foundation grew, so too did its influence. They began to receive inquiries from across the country, from individuals and organizations looking to learn from their model and implement similar programs in their own communities. The Foundation's success stories were numerous, from survivors who found the courage to leave abusive relationships to children who learned the importance of self-worth and respect at a young age. The Foundation's annual gala became a highlight of the community calendar, a night where survivors, volunteers, and supporters came together to celebrate the progress that had been made and to honor the memory of the Watts family. The event was a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. It was a night filled with tears, laughter, and a shared sense of purpose. Despite the challenges they faced, the Foundation remained steadfast in its mission. They were acutely aware that their work was far from over, that there were still countless individuals who needed their help. They continued to advocate for stronger laws, for better support systems, and for a society that valued the well-being of its citizens above all else. The Foundation's story was one that resonated with people of all walks of life, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a glimmer of hope. It was a story that inspired action, that encouraged people to speak out against domestic violence, and to prioritize the well-being of all individuals within their community. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, their spirits bolstered by the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's mission had taken root, its roots spreading deep into the hearts of those touched by the loss of innocent lives. The story of Christopher Lee Watts, a man who had turned his own home into a scene of horror, served as a stark reminder of the darkness that could lurk within even the most seemingly ordinary of lives. Yet, amidst the grief and anger, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had emerged as a beacon of light, a force that refused to be extinguished by the darkness that had consumed the family. The foundation's efforts were multifaceted, reaching out to survivors of domestic violence, offering them a lifeline, a place where they could find solace and support. They organized workshops and seminars, educating the community on the signs of abuse and the importance of intervention. They partnered with local shelters, ensuring that those in need had a safe haven to turn to. They worked tirelessly to raise awareness, using every platform at their disposal to share the story of the Watts family and the lessons that could be learned from their tragic fate. As the foundation grew, so too did its influence. The number of volunteers swelled, each one driven by a personal commitment to make a difference. They came from all walks of life, united by a common goal, to prevent future tragedies and to honor the memory of those who had lost their lives. The volunteers were not just activists, they were healers, mentors, and friends to those in need. They visited schools, holding assemblies and discussions to educate young people about the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of healthy relationships. Donations poured in from across the country, from individuals who had been moved by the foundation's mission, and from corporations that saw the value in supporting such a vital cause. The funds were used to expand the foundation's reach, to provide more resources to those in need, and to continue the fight against domestic violence. The foundation's network of partners also expanded, with organizations and businesses joining forces to amplify the message and to create a ripple effect that would reach far and wide. The foundation's story was not just about the Watts family. It was about the countless others who had suffered in silence, who had been afraid to speak out or to seek help. It was a story of transformation, of how a single act of unimaginable horror could spark a movement that would change lives and save lives. The foundation's events, from candlelight vigils to fundraising galas, became opportunities for the community to come together, to mourn, to heal, and to commit to a future where such violence would no longer be tolerated. The foundation's leaders were not just visionaries, they were realists. They understood that the fight against domestic violence was a long and arduous one, that it would require constant vigilance and dedication. But they also believed in the power of hope, in the idea that every small victory, every life saved, was a step towards a brighter future. They saw the growing number of survivors who had found the courage to share their stories, who had become advocates in their own right, and they knew that this was just the beginning. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They were not just survivors of a tragedy. They were pioneers, paving the way for a future where such darkness could be banished and where the light of hope could shine brightly for everyone. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's mission was clear: to ensure that the memory of those lost would not be in vain. The Foundation's leaders, driven by a deep sense of purpose, worked tirelessly to honor the victims and to educate the public about the realities of domestic violence. They organized candlelight vigils, community forums, and awareness campaigns, all aimed at shedding light on a problem that often remained hidden in the dark corners of society. The Foundation's website became a beacon of information, a repository of resources for those seeking help, and a platform for survivors to share their stories. As the Foundation grew, so did its influence. They partnered with local shelters, counseling services, and law enforcement agencies to create a comprehensive support network. They hosted workshops on identifying the signs of abuse, teaching individuals how to intervene safely, and providing training for professionals in the field. The Foundation's annual gala, a night of remembrance and celebration of life, drew hundreds of attendees, each one inspired to take part in the fight against domestic violence. The volunteers, numbering in the hundreds, were a diverse group of individuals from all walks of life, united by a common goal. They canvassed neighborhoods, handed out informational flyers, and spoke to students in schools, ensuring that the message of the Foundation reached young ears. The donations, which began as small contributions from friends and family, soon grew into significant funds, allowing the Foundation to expand its programs and reach. The Foundation's reach extended beyond the local community. They connected with national organizations, sharing their strategies and successes, and collaborating on initiatives that aimed to tackle the issue on a broader scale. They were invited to speak at conferences, sharing their story and advocating for policy changes that would protect victims and hold abusers accountable. Despite the heartache that continued to weigh heavily on their shoulders, the members of the Foundation remained steadfast. They understood that the road to change was long and fraught with challenges, but they were determined to keep moving forward. They visited hospitals, visited survivors in their homes, and provided support to those who were still reeling from the trauma of abuse. The Foundation's work was not without its critics. Some questioned the effectiveness of their efforts, while others accused them of sensationalizing the tragedy. But the members of the Foundation stood firm, knowing that their cause was just and that their message was one of hope and healing. They continued to reach out to those in need, to offer a listening ear, a shoulder to lean on, and a path to safety. As the years passed, the Foundation's impact became increasingly evident. They witnessed the number of domestic violence incidents decrease, the number of survivors finding the strength to come forward, and the number of communities that were beginning to take the issue seriously. They celebrated small victories, like the passing of legislation that protected victims and the establishment of safe houses where survivors could seek refuge. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They were not just a foundation, they were a family, bound together by a shared purpose and a commitment to honoring the memory of those who had been taken from them too soon. The Foundation's leaders often reflected on the words of the late Christopher Lee Watts, who had once spoken of the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of adversity. They knew that his legacy lived on in their work, and they were determined to carry it forward with honor and integrity. They continued to educate, to advocate, and to support, knowing that every life they touched was a victory for the cause they so deeply believed in. The Foundation's story was one that would be told for generations, a story of loss that led to a movement, a story of darkness that gave way to light. It was a story that would inspire others to take action, to speak out against domestic violence, and to prioritize the well-being of all individuals within their community. And as the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, knowing that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. As the Watts Family Memorial Foundation grew in strength and influence, it became a beacon of light amidst the darkness that had once engulfed the lives of the Watts family. The story of Christopher Lee Watts and the heinous crimes he committed against his own kin had cast a long shadow over the community, but the Foundation had emerged as a force for good, a symbol of the possibility of redemption and the enduring power of love. With each volunteer that joined their ranks, each donation that poured in, and each partnership that was forged, the Foundation's impact expanded, reaching those who had never before considered the severity of domestic violence or the importance of community support. The volunteers, a diverse group of individuals from all walks of life worked tirelessly to spread awareness, offering workshops, hosting community events, and creating educational materials that were designed to empower people to recognize the signs of abuse and to seek help when needed. They visited schools, churches, and community centers, ensuring that the message of the foundation was heard far and wide. The donations, both monetary and in kind, were meticulously allocated to support programs that aimed to provide shelter, counseling, and legal assistance to those affected by domestic violence. The network of partners, including local law enforcement agencies, social service organizations, and mental health professionals, was invaluable in creating a coordinated response to domestic abuse. They worked together to develop intervention strategies, to provide support to survivors, and to hold offenders accountable. The Foundation's annual awareness campaign, Break the Silence, became a pivotal event, attracting thousands of participants who walked together in solidarity, carrying banners that read "No More Silence. Together we can end domestic violence and hope for the future." The Foundation's story was not only one of loss and grief, but also one of profound hope. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, as survivors of domestic violence shared their experiences and offered support to others who had suffered in similar ways. These survivors became advocates for change, using their own pain to inspire others to take action. They spoke at events, shared their stories with the media, and worked alongside the Foundation to ensure that the voices of those affected by domestic violence were heard. The Foundation's commitment to prevention was unwavering. They believed that education was key to ending the cycle of abuse, and they worked with schools to integrate anti-violence curriculum into their programs. They also collaborated with businesses to develop workplace policies that promoted a safe and supportive environment for employees. The Foundation's efforts were not confined to their local community. They reached out to national and international organizations, sharing their strategies and insights to help create a global movement against domestic violence. As the Foundation continued to grow, so did the number of lives it touched. They had helped countless individuals find safety, healing, and hope, and they were proud of the progress they had made. But they knew that their work was far from over. There were still too many families suffering in silence, too many lives at risk. The Foundation's leaders were determined to keep pushing forward, to keep raising awareness, to keep providing support, and to keep advocating for change. In the face of the immense tragedy that had befallen the Watts family, the Foundation had found a way to transform pain into purpose. They had turned a story of darkness into a narrative of light, a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. And as the Foundation looked to the future, they did so with a sense of optimism and resolve, knowing that their work was not just a tribute to the Watts family, but a vital step towards a future where domestic violence would no longer exist. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's mission was clear: to ensure that the memory of the Watts family would not be a mere echo of horror, but a beacon of change. The Foundation's leaders, driven by a deep sense of purpose, worked tirelessly to transform the grief into a force for good. They organized candlelight vigils, educational workshops, and support groups, all aimed at raising awareness and fostering a community that was vigilant against domestic violence. The volunteers, many of whom had been touched by the Foundation's work, were a diverse group of individuals, each bringing their own unique skills and perspectives to the table. They were lawyers, teachers, activists, and even artists, all united by a common goal of preventing the kind of tragedy that had shattered the Watts family's lives. As the Foundation grew, so did its influence. Donations began to pour in from across the country, and the outpouring of support from the community was overwhelming. The Foundation's website became a hub for information, resources, and stories of hope, where survivors of domestic violence could find solace and guidance. They partnered with local shelters, law enforcement agencies, and other nonprofit organizations to create a comprehensive network of support. The Foundation's annual gala, a star-studded event that brought together celebrities, activists, and the community, became a symbol of the power of collective action. The Foundation's leaders were not just focused on immediate action, they were also committed to long-term change. They worked with policymakers to advocate for stricter laws and more effective interventions. They developed a curriculum for schools that taught students about the signs of abuse and the importance of seeking help. They even launched a scholarship program for young people who were passionate about ending domestic violence, providing them with the resources and mentorship they needed to pursue their dreams. Despite the challenges, the Foundation remained optimistic. They believed that with each passing day, they were getting closer to a world where domestic violence was a thing of the past. They were inspired by the stories of survivors who had found the courage to break free from their abusers and the stories of those who had stood up to support them. They were also heartened by the growing number of men and women who were taking a stand against the culture of silence that often surrounded domestic violence. As the Foundation celebrated its 5th anniversary, they reflected on the progress they had made. They had seen the creation of new laws, the establishment of more shelters, and the increase in the number of people seeking help. They had also seen the transformation of the community, where conversations about domestic violence were no longer taboo but a regular part of public discourse. The Foundation's leaders knew that they had a long road ahead, but they were determined to keep pushing forward. One of the most powerful moments for the Foundation came when they were able to honor the memory of the Watts family by presenting a scholarship to a young woman who had been inspired by their story to pursue a career in social work. The young woman, standing before a crowd of supporters, spoke of the Foundation's impact on her life and her commitment to helping others. It was a moment of profound significance, a testament to the Foundation's mission and the legacy of the Watts family. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were filled with a sense of hope and purpose. They knew that the road ahead would be filled with obstacles, but they were prepared to face them head-on. They were determined to continue their work, to expand their reach, and to make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation was more than just a foundation. It was a movement, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a light to guide the way. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's mission became a beacon of light for those who had suffered in silence, a place where healing and hope intertwined. The volunteers, a diverse group of individuals from all walks of life, gathered weekly to share stories, offer support, and brainstorm ways to amplify their message. They organized community events, hosting workshops on domestic violence prevention, and invited survivors to share their experiences, their voices a powerful counterpoint to the silence that had surrounded the tragedy. The Foundation's website, a repository of resources and testimonials, saw a surge in visitors, each seeking guidance and solace in the words of those who had endured similar hardships. As word of the Foundation spread, donations began to pour in from across the country, with many choosing to honor loved ones lost by contributing to the cause. The funds were used to establish scholarships for students affected by domestic violence, to provide legal aid to survivors, and to finance the creation of a safe haven for those seeking refuge. The Foundation's partnerships with local shelters, counseling services, and law enforcement agencies grew stronger, creating a collaborative network dedicated to eradicating domestic violence. The volunteers, once strangers, formed bonds that transcended their individual experiences. They shared meals, celebrated victories, and mourned together, their unity a testament to the strength that comes from solidarity. They organized a series of public service announcements featuring survivors and advocates, their faces and voices a stark reminder of the reality of domestic violence and the importance of taking action. The Foundation's story was not without its challenges. They faced criticism from those who believed they were exploiting the tragedy for personal gain, but they remained steadfast in their mission, demonstrating through their actions that their dedication was unwavering. They fought back with transparency, sharing financial reports and detailing their every move, ensuring that every dollar donated was used effectively. As the foundation continued to grow, so too did the number of volunteers and supporters. They hosted charity runs, concerts, and galas, each event raising awareness and funds. They even started a scholarship program for children of domestic violence survivors, providing them with the opportunity to pursue higher education and break the cycle of abuse. The foundation's success was not without its emotional toll. Many volunteers found themselves drawn into the personal struggles of those they were helping, their hearts heavy with the weight of the pain they witnessed. Yet they pushed forward, driven by the belief that their work was making a difference, that they were contributing to a future where domestic violence was a thing of the past. In the years that followed, the foundation's impact was undeniable. They had helped countless individuals find safety, healing, and a path forward. They had educated communities, sparked conversations, and brought about systemic changes. They had turned the Watts family murders into a catalyst for change, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. Their legacy, a living reminder of the enduring spirit of humanity. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the legacy of the Watts family was etched into the hearts of those who knew them, and the world at large would never forget the horrors that unfolded. As the years passed, the pain of their loss was slowly replaced by the growth of a remarkable organization, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation. This foundation was not just a remembrance of the family's tragic end. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable darkness. Under the guiding hands of the surviving family members, the foundation became a place where stories were shared, where healing began, and where a movement against domestic violence took root. They understood that their mission was not just to honor the memory of those lost, but to create a ripple effect of change that would resonate far beyond the borders of their small town. The foundation organized candlelight vigils, support groups, and educational workshops, all aimed at raising awareness about the silent epidemic of domestic violence that plagues countless homes. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The foundation's leaders, led by the indomitable spirit of the surviving family members, were determined to make their voice heard. They traveled to schools, churches, and community centers, sharing their story and their message with anyone who would listen. They spoke of love and loss, of the darkness that can consume a life and the light that can bring it back. They spoke of the importance of speaking out, of standing up for oneself and for others, and of the power of community. With each passing day, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation became a household name, a symbol of the fight against domestic violence and a testament to the courage it takes to face such a struggle. They were not just a foundation, they were a movement, a force for good that was spreading its wings and taking flight. They were inspired by the words of those they had lost, by their love, their laughter, and their lives cut tragically short. The foundation's impact was felt in the most profound ways. They helped to establish laws that protected victims, they funded shelters that offered safety and support, and they worked tirelessly to educate the public about the signs of abuse and the steps to take to prevent it. They were instrumental in the creation of a national hotline, a lifeline for those in danger, and they were a constant presence in the media, ensuring that the conversation about domestic violence never faded into obscurity. Yet, as the foundation continued to grow and expand its reach, they never lost sight of the personal nature of their mission. They remembered the Watts family, each member of whom was a unique and irreplaceable soul. They honored their memories by ensuring that their lives were not just a series of tragic events, but a testament to the beauty and strength of the human experience. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. It was a place where brokenness could be mended, where healing could take root, and where the possibility of a brighter future could be found. And so, the foundation continued to stand, a monument to the Watts family, a symbol of hope, and a guiding light for those who sought to navigate the darkness that still lingered in the corners of society. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation, a beacon of hope in the wake of the tragic loss of Christopher Lee Watts and his family, continued to grow in strength and purpose. With every volunteer that joined their ranks, every dollar that was donated, and every partnership that was forged, the foundation's reach extended further, spreading its message of healing and prevention across the nation. They organized seminars and workshops, aiming to educate communities about the signs of domestic violence and the importance of intervention. The volunteers, once just a group of sorrowful survivors, had become a dedicated force, determined to ensure that no other family would have to endure such a horrifying fate. Under the leadership of the Watts family members, the foundation launched a series of campaigns that resonated with the hearts of many. Their Speak Up initiative encouraged individuals to speak out against any form of domestic violence, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. They worked tirelessly to create a support system for victims, providing resources such as counseling, legal assistance, and emergency shelters. The foundation's annual Walk for Freedom, became a powerful symbol of unity and remembrance, drawing thousands of participants who vowed to stand together against violence. The media played a crucial role in amplifying the foundation's message, as documentaries, interviews, and editorials brought the Watts family's story to the forefront of national consciousness. The impact was profound, as more and more organizations and individuals came forward to pledge their support. The foundation even collaborated with tech companies to develop mobile applications that offered real-time help and support for those in immediate danger. As the foundation celebrated its 5th anniversary, it looked back on the achievements with pride but remained grounded in the urgency of their mission. They had managed to raise over $10 million in donations, which had been allocated to support victims and fund research into effective prevention strategies. The foundation had also succeeded in advocating for policy changes at both the state and federal levels, resulting in stricter laws and better protections for victims. However, the foundation was acutely aware that the fight against domestic violence was far from over. They knew that their work was never done, and that the path to true change was fraught with challenges. To address this, they initiated a program called Community Watch, which encouraged residents to become vigilant in their neighborhoods, reporting suspicious activities and supporting local law enforcement efforts. In an effort to engage younger generations, the foundation introduced a youth initiative called Stand Strong, which provided educational resources and interactive workshops designed to empower teenagers to recognize and combat abuse. They also developed a mentorship program that paired young people with adult role models who had survived domestic violence, offering them guidance and hope. The foundation's success was not just measured in numbers or dollars. It was seen in the lives of countless individuals who had found solace and strength. They had helped families to rebuild their lives, provided shelter for those in need, and supported survivors in their journey to healing. Through their tireless efforts, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had become a symbol of resilience and a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. As Christopher Lee Watts sat in his cell, his actions a stark reminder of the pain and suffering he had caused, the Foundation's mission became more urgent than ever. They were determined to ensure that his crimes would not be forgotten, and that his actions would serve as a catalyst for positive change. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a living reminder that love and compassion could indeed triumph over darkness, and that the power of community and collective action could bring about a world where every individual was safe and free from harm. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They organized community events, workshops, and awareness campaigns, each one designed to educate and empower those who might be in similar situations or at risk of experiencing domestic violence. The Foundation's programs included support groups for survivors, legal workshops, and initiatives to teach children about the importance of healthy relationships. One such program, aptly named Breaking the Silence, aimed to break down the barriers of silence that often surrounded domestic abuse. It provided a safe space for individuals to share their stories, seek guidance, and find support without fear of judgment. The Foundation's leaders, including some of the Watts family members themselves, spoke openly about their experiences, emphasizing the importance of recognizing the signs of abuse and taking immediate action. They partnered with local schools, universities, and workplaces to ensure that the message reached as many people as possible. The Foundation also worked tirelessly to create partnerships with law enforcement agencies, offering training on how to identify and respond to domestic violence cases more effectively. They organized seminars and webinars that were attended by officers, prosecutors, and judges, all of whom played crucial roles in the justice system. By educating these professionals, the Foundation sought to improve the response to domestic violence incidents, ultimately leading to more convictions and safer communities. One of the most significant achievements of the Watts Family Memorial Foundation was the establishment of a scholarship program for survivors of domestic violence. The scholarship aimed to provide educational opportunities to those who had been affected by the violence, helping them to rebuild their lives and pursue their dreams. The Foundation received applications from individuals across the country, each story more compelling than the last, and the selection process was heart-wrenching but inspiring. The scholarship recipients were celebrated at a gala event each year, where they shared their testimonials and expressed their gratitude for the Foundation's support. The stories of these survivors served as a reminder of the strength and resilience of the human spirit, and they inspired others to join the fight against domestic violence. In addition to their scholarship program, the Foundation continued to fund research into the causes and effects of domestic violence. They partnered with universities and think tanks to study the issue from various angles, including the psychological, social, and economic factors that contribute to the prevalence of domestic abuse. This research not only informed their own programs, but also contributed to the broader understanding of the issue within the scientific community. As the Foundation grew, so did its influence. They were invited to speak at conferences, participate in panel discussions, and collaborate with other organizations that shared their mission. The Foundation's presence became a beacon of hope for those struggling with domestic violence, offering a sense of community and solidarity that was often lacking in the lives of survivors. Despite the challenges and setbacks they faced, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation remained steadfast in its mission. They were not deterred by the complexity of the issue or the enormity of the task ahead. Instead, they embraced the journey, drawing on the strength and courage of the Watts family and the countless others who had been touched by the tragedy. Year after year, the Foundation's work continued to bear fruit. They saw more survivors coming forward, more communities becoming engaged, and more lives being transformed. The Foundation's impact was not just measured in numbers, but in the stories of those whose lives had been forever changed for the better. As the story of the Watts Family Memorial Foundation unfolded, it became a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. It showed that even in the darkest of times, there is always a light that can be kindled, a spark that can ignite a movement, and a message that can resonate across generations. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood not just as a monument to a family that had suffered a great loss, but as a beacon of hope for all those who sought to build a world where domestic violence was no longer tolerated. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation had its roots in a place of profound sorrow, a place where love was shattered and hope seemed to vanish into the night. It all began with the tragic loss of the Watts family, a tale of domestic violence that shocked the nation and left a mark on the hearts of many. Yet, amidst the pain and the heartache, a glimmer of light emerged, a beacon of hope that would soon become the foundation of a movement. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. Each volunteer, every donor, and every partner brought with them a piece of their own heart, a piece of their own soul, and together they formed a powerful force for change. The volunteers, a diverse group of individuals from all walks of life, were united by a common goal: to prevent future tragedies and to support those affected by domestic violence. They organized community events, workshops, and support groups, all aimed at raising awareness and providing resources to those in need. The donations, which came from individuals, corporations, and foundations, were poured into programs that offered counseling, legal assistance, and safe havens for victims. The Foundation's partners, including local government agencies, non-profit organizations, and educational institutions, played a crucial role in amplifying the Foundation's message. They collaborated on research initiatives, policy advocacy, and public campaigns, all designed to shift the cultural narrative and to promote healthy relationships and respect within communities. As the Foundation looked back on its achievements, it was amazed at how far it had come. They had successfully lobbied for new legislation that provided more support for domestic violence survivors. They had trained hundreds of individuals in conflict resolution and self-defense, and they had helped countless families find safety and stability. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The Watts family, who had been torn apart by domestic violence, had become the symbol of a movement that aimed to protect others from similar fates. The Foundation's leaders, inspired by the memory of the Watts family, worked tirelessly to ensure that their legacy would live on. They traveled across the country, sharing their story and spreading their message, inspiring others to take action, to speak out against domestic violence, and to prioritize the well-being of all individuals within their community. In the years that followed, the Foundation continued to grow and evolve. They expanded their programs to include initiatives aimed at preventing child abuse, promoting healthy relationships in schools, and supporting veterans who had experienced trauma. They also launched a scholarship program for survivors of domestic violence, providing them with the opportunity to pursue higher education and build a better future for themselves and their families. As the Foundation celebrated its milestones, it was clear that they had made a lasting impact. They had changed laws, transformed communities, and saved lives. Yet, they never forgot the reason they began this journey. They were reminded daily of the Watts family, whose lives had been cut short by domestic violence, and they vowed to honor their memory by continuing to fight for a world free from such violence. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. It was a story that would inspire generations to come, a story that would remind them that even in the darkest of times, there is always a light to guide them. And so, the foundation continued to shine, to hope, and to believe that one day, the world would be a place where no one would ever have to suffer the pain of domestic violence again. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. The foundation's mission was clear: to honor the memory of the Watts family by advocating for victims of domestic violence and raising awareness about the signs of abuse. They organized workshops and seminars that brought together experts, survivors, and community leaders to share their experiences and to learn from each other. These gatherings were not just about educating, but also about healing, as survivors found solace in the company of those who had walked a similar path. The Foundation's first major initiative was the establishment of a safe house for victims of domestic violence. This shelter provided a safe haven for those who had fled their abusers, offering them a place to stay, access to legal assistance, and the support they needed to rebuild their lives. The safe house was named in honor of the Watts family, a poignant reminder of the lives lost and the legacy they left behind. As word of the safe house spread, more and more individuals reached out to the foundation, seeking help and offering assistance. The foundation's team worked tirelessly to ensure that every person who needed help was connected with the resources they required. One such individual was Emily, a young woman who had been in an abusive relationship for years. She had tried to leave several times but was always threatened or coerced back into the relationship. It was only when she stumbled upon the Watts Family Memorial Foundation's website that she found the courage to seek help. With the foundation's support, Emily was able to leave her abuser and start the process of healing. Her story was one of many that inspired the foundation's team, reinforcing their belief that their work was making a real difference. In addition to the safe house, the foundation launched a series of public awareness campaigns aimed at educating the community about the signs of domestic violence. They distributed informational brochures, held town hall meetings, and partnered with local schools to incorporate anti-violence programs into their curricula. These efforts were met with widespread support, as the community recognized the importance of addressing this issue head-on. As the foundation grew, so did its reach. They began to collaborate with national organizations, sharing their resources and expertise to help create a more comprehensive approach to combating domestic violence. This collaboration led to the development of a groundbreaking program that combined therapy, legal support, and job training to help survivors rebuild their lives. The program was a resounding success, with many survivors finding stability and independence through its services. The Foundation's commitment to their mission was unwavering, and their impact was undeniable. They were recognized with numerous awards and accolades, including the prestigious Community Service Award, which was presented to them by a prominent senator. The senator praised the Foundation's work, noting that it was an example of what could be achieved when a community came together to address a critical issue. Despite the challenges they faced, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation never wavered in their dedication to their cause. They continued to advocate for victims, to educate the public, and to provide support to those in need. They knew that their work was far from over, that there were still countless individuals who needed their help. But they also knew that with each passing day, they were getting closer to a world where domestic violence was a thing of the past. As the foundation looked to the future, they were determined to build upon their successes and to expand their reach even further. They were planning to open additional safe houses in different parts of the country, to create a network of support that would be accessible to anyone in need. They were also working on developing a mobile app that would provide survivors with real-time assistance, connecting them with local resources and support groups. The Foundation's story was one that would continue to inspire generations to come. It was a story of loss and grief, but also of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, a story of hope and resilience began to unfold. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation, born from the ashes of tragedy, became a beacon of light in a world that needed it most. Each day, the Foundation staff and volunteers worked tirelessly, their hearts heavy with the weight of their mission but their spirits unyielding. They visited schools, community centers, and churches, sharing the harrowing tale of the Watts family to educate and prevent such acts of violence from occurring again. The Foundation's efforts were not in vain. The community responded with an outpouring of support, their donations and volunteer hours pouring in like a river of compassion. The Foundation's programs expanded, offering counseling services, legal aid, and emergency shelter for victims of domestic violence. They partnered with local law enforcement, mental health professionals, and advocacy groups to create a comprehensive network that could support those affected by domestic abuse. As the organization grew, so too did its influence. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation became a model for other communities seeking to combat domestic violence, their success stories shared far and wide. Despite the dark legacy that haunted their name, the Watts family's memory lived on through the Foundation's relentless pursuit of justice and healing. The Foundation's annual vigil, a solemn ceremony held each year on the anniversary of the murders, became a powerful reminder of the lives lost and the lessons learned. The community would gather, holding candles and signing cards of support for the Foundation, their collective voices a testament to the strength of human spirit. The Foundation's efforts did not go unnoticed. They received numerous awards for their work, including the prestigious Community Service Award, which honored their dedication to making a difference. Yet, for the founders, the greatest reward was the transformation they witnessed in the lives of those they helped. They watched as individuals who had once been trapped in cycles of abuse found the courage to break free, and they celebrated the children who grew up in safe, loving homes because of the Foundation's advocacy. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They fought not just for the memory of the Watts family, but for the countless others who had suffered in silence, who had been afraid to speak out, and who had lost hope. The Foundation's work was a constant reminder that every voice mattered, that every life was precious, and that together, they could overcome the darkness and bring light to the world. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation, a beacon of hope in the wake of the harrowing events that claimed the lives of its members, stood tall as a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. Christopher Lee Watts, the family's accused perpetrator, had left an indelible mark on the fabric of their lives, but it was their collective memory that sparked a movement. The Foundation's mission was clear: to honor the Watts family and to champion the fight against domestic violence. Under the guidance of dedicated volunteers, the organization blossomed, attracting a community that shared their passion for change. As word of their endeavors spread, donations began to pour in, funding initiatives aimed at educating the public about the signs of abuse and the importance of intervention. Partnerships with local shelters, law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups were forged, creating a powerful network of allies. Each volunteer, each donor, each partner brought their own story, their own struggles, and their own dreams for a future free from violence. They knew that every story told, every life saved, was a victory in the ongoing battle against domestic abuse. The Foundation organized seminars, support groups, and campaigns, using every available resource to amplify their message. They hosted vigils, remembering not only the Watts family but also all those who had fallen victim to domestic violence, and they celebrated the survivors, who were the living proof that strength and resilience could triumph over despair. Through social media, community events, and collaborations with other organizations, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation reached far and wide, inspiring individuals to take a stand against abuse in their own lives and in their communities. They worked tirelessly to provide resources and support for those affected by domestic violence, ensuring that no one would walk this path alone. As the foundation grew, so did the hope it inspired. They were optimistic, driven by the sheer volume of support and the palpable sense that change was on the horizon. They were determined to create a ripple effect, one that would spread throughout the nation and beyond, touching lives and transforming attitudes. They understood that the journey to a violence-free society would be long and arduous, but they were undeterred. They had seen the power of unity and the strength of collective resolve, and they were confident that with continued support and unwavering dedication, they could achieve their goals. The Foundation's story was a stark reminder that tragedy could indeed be the catalyst for profound change. It was a story of loss, but also of resilience and of the unyielding human spirit. It was a story that showed that love and compassion could overcome the darkest of times, and that the unwavering determination to create a better world was not just possible, but inevitable. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a lighthouse of hope, guiding those lost at sea, providing a safe haven for the vulnerable, and shining a light on the path to a brighter future. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of the Watts family murders, a tragedy that had shaken the community to its core. As time passed, the Foundation's mission to honor the memory of the Watts family and to combat domestic violence gained momentum. The dedication of its founders, along with the unwavering support from the community, was evident in the growth of the organization. With each passing day, more volunteers joined the ranks, many of them inspired by the Foundation's commitment to making a difference. They were a diverse group, coming from all walks of life, yet united by a common goal to prevent domestic violence and to support those affected by it. The Foundation's programs expanded, reaching into schools, community centers, and workplaces, offering workshops and seminars designed to educate and raise awareness. They hosted candlelight vigils and memorial services, ensuring that the memory of the Watts family remained alive and that their tragic story served as a cautionary tale. The organization also worked closely with local law enforcement, offering training on recognizing signs of domestic abuse and providing resources for those in need. As the foundation grew, so did the number of donations. Generous contributions from individuals, businesses, and foundations allowed them to fund their initiatives and reach more people. The foundation's partnerships with local, state, and national organizations further strengthened their reach, as they collaborated on campaigns and initiatives aimed at addressing the root causes of domestic violence. The Foundation's website became a hub of information, offering resources for those experiencing abuse, information on how to seek help, and testimonials from survivors. They also published a quarterly newsletter filled with articles, stories, and updates on their latest projects. It was a testament to their dedication that the newsletter quickly grew from a few hundred subscribers to tens of thousands, each one committed to the cause. Despite the challenges, the Foundation remained optimistic. They were encouraged by the increasing number of people coming forward to share their stories and seek help. They were heartened by the fact that more and more individuals were stepping up to volunteer, to donate, and to advocate for change. It was a collective effort, one that required everyone to be part of the solution. The Foundation's annual fundraising gala was a testament to the community's support. Attendees from all over the region gathered to honor the Watts family, to celebrate the Foundation's achievements, and to raise funds for their ongoing work. The event was a mix of solemnity and celebration, a reflection of the Foundation's dual mission to remember and to move forward. As the years went by, the Foundation's impact was undeniable. They had helped countless individuals escape dangerous situations, had provided shelter and support to survivors, and had educated countless others on the signs of abuse and the importance of intervention. They had also played a significant role in changing the conversation about domestic violence, bringing it out of the shadows and into the light where it could be addressed and tackled effectively. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. The Foundation's founders, staff, volunteers, and supporters knew that their work was far from over, but they were hopeful that their efforts would lead to a future where domestic violence was a thing of the past. They remained committed to their mission, knowing that each step forward was a step closer to a world where everyone could live without fear and with dignity. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of light in a world that had been darkened by the heinous acts of Christopher Lee Watts, a man who had shattered lives and left behind a trail of pain and sorrow. As time passed, the Foundation's mission became even more crucial, as it sought to ensure that the memory of the Watts family would not be overshadowed by the horror of their loss. The community, once in shock and disbelief, had slowly but surely come together to honor the lives of those taken too soon. The Foundation's first initiatives were modest, starting with small vigils and memorials to keep the memories of Nick, Cassie, and their children alive. But as more people learned about the tragic events, the outpouring of support was overwhelming. Families, friends, and even strangers joined the cause, each bringing their own talents and resources to the table. The Foundation's website and social media pages became a hub of activity, filled with stories of love, strength, and the unyielding spirit of those who had been affected by the tragedy. Volunteers poured in, ready to help in any way they could. Some organized fundraising events, while others dedicated their time to raising awareness about domestic violence. One such volunteer, a former teacher named Emily, began to visit schools to talk about the importance of recognizing the signs of abuse and the need for a supportive community. Her talks were poignant, often leading to heartfelt conversations among students and faculty. Donations started to roll in, providing the Foundation with the means to expand their reach. They began to offer scholarships to students who had shown an interest in helping others, hoping to cultivate a new generation of advocates. The Foundation also partnered with local shelters to provide resources and support for survivors of domestic violence, ensuring that they had a safe place to turn to when they needed help. The network of partners grew, encompassing law enforcement agencies, mental health organizations, and even local businesses. These partnerships allowed the foundation to offer a comprehensive approach to addressing domestic violence, from prevention to intervention to healing. They organized training sessions for police officers and social workers, ensuring that they were equipped to handle cases of domestic abuse effectively. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The Watts family's legacy lived on through the foundation's unwavering commitment to creating a safer and more compassionate world. In the years that followed, the foundation's influence spread far and wide. They organized national conferences, sharing best practices and success stories with other organizations. They published a series of educational materials, making it easier for schools, churches, and workplaces to start their own initiatives against domestic violence. They even helped to draft legislation that would strengthen laws against domestic abusers and provide better support for survivors. The foundation's impact was undeniable. They had helped to save lives, to bring abusers to justice, and to foster a culture of respect and empathy. But perhaps the most profound testament to their work was the number of individuals who had found the courage to come forward and seek help. They had found solace in the foundation's mission, and they had found a community that believed in them and supported them through their darkest hours. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation had become more than just a charity. It had become a symbol of hope for those who had endured the worst of humanity. It had shown that even in the face of tragedy, love and compassion could triumph. And so, the foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all, with every action, every donation, and every volunteer contributing to the ongoing fight against domestic violence. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the community of Colorado Springs was left reeling, grappling with the unimaginable loss of innocent lives. Yet amidst the heartache, a glimmer of hope emerged as the Watts Family Memorial Foundation was established, a beacon of light dedicated to honoring the memory of the victims and to fighting the darkness of domestic violence that had consumed their lives. The foundation's mission was clear: to educate, to support, and to empower those affected by domestic abuse, ensuring that no one would suffer in silence again. As the foundation grew, it became a hub of activity, a place where survivors found solace and strength. The volunteers, numbering in the hundreds, were a diverse group of individuals who had been touched by the tragedy in some way, each bringing their unique skills and experiences to the cause. They organized workshops, seminars, and support groups, all aimed at raising awareness and providing resources to those in need. The foundation's website became a virtual sanctuary, offering information, guidance, and a sense of community to those who sought help. Donations began to pour in from across the country, with many individuals and organizations recognizing the importance of the foundation's work. The funds were used to expand the foundation's reach, to create more programs, and to support the families of the victims. Partnerships were formed with local shelters, law enforcement agencies, and mental health professionals, all working together to create a comprehensive approach to combating domestic violence. The foundation's events were a testament to the power of collective action. The annual Walk to End Domestic Violence saw thousands of participants taking to the streets, carrying signs with messages of hope and solidarity. The candlelight vigils, held in remembrance of the victims, were moments of profound reflection and healing, where community members could come together to honor the lives lost and to commit to making a difference. But the Foundation's work was not limited to the physical realm. They had also embarked on a digital campaign, using social media platforms to spread their message far and wide. They shared stories of survivors, highlighting their journeys from darkness to light, and they provided resources for those who were in immediate danger. The hashtag #WattsFamilyHope became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a path to healing and a future filled with possibilities. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. The Foundation's president, Sarah Watts, a survivor herself, often spoke of the importance of never giving up. "We must remember that every life lost to domestic violence is a tragedy, but it is also a call to action," she would say. "We must stand together, we must speak out, and we must fight for change." The Watts Family Memorial Foundation is not just a foundation. It is a movement, a force for good that will continue to grow and to inspire. As the years passed, the Foundation's impact became more evident. The number of survivors who found safety and support through their programs continued to rise, and the community of Colorado Springs became more aware and more proactive in addressing the issue of domestic violence. The Foundation had become a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a light to guide the way. The legacy of the Watts family murders would live on through the Foundation's tireless efforts, a legacy of love and loss, of pain and perseverance. And while the wounds of the past would never fully heal, the Foundation's work would ensure that the memory of the victims would never be forgotten, and that the fight against domestic violence would continue until every life was free from fear, and every community was safe and supportive. In the face of such a profound tragedy, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity and to create a brighter future. And as the Foundation continued to grow and to thrive, it was a reminder that even the darkest of nights would eventually give way to the dawn of a new day, one filled with promise and possibility. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of hope amidst the shadow of the devastating murders that had torn their lives apart. As the years rolled on, the Foundation's mission remained steadfast, to honor the memory of the Watts family and to combat the insidious forces of domestic violence that had taken their lives. They had faced countless obstacles, from skepticism to outright hostility, but their resolve never wavered. They had turned their sorrow into a force for good, transforming the pain of their loss into a platform for change. Under the leadership of a dedicated board of directors, the Foundation's initiatives grew and evolved. They launched educational programs that reached out to schools and community centers, teaching children and adults alike about the warning signs of domestic abuse and the importance of seeking help. They organized support groups for survivors, providing a safe space to share their experiences and find strength in each other's camaraderie. They even developed a scholarship program for young students who had been affected by domestic violence, ensuring that the legacy of the Watts family lived on through the achievements of future generations. With each passing year, the Foundation's presence became more prominent. They were recognized by local and national organizations, awarded for their groundbreaking work in advocacy and support. The one small group of volunteers had blossomed into a vast network of individuals who were passionate about the cause. Donations poured in from generous supporters, enabling the foundation to expand their reach and implement more programs. Partnerships with law enforcement agencies, mental health professionals, and other nonprofit organizations were formed, creating a cohesive and effective approach to combating domestic violence. Amidst the growing success, the foundation never forgot the heartache that had brought them together. They held annual remembrance events, inviting the community to come together in unity and to remember the lives lost. These gatherings were not just solemn memorials, they were also celebrations of the resilience and strength that the Watts family had exemplified. Speakers shared their own stories of overcoming adversity, and survivors stood on stage to share their journeys of healing and hope. As the foundation looked to the future, they were filled with a profound sense of optimism. They saw the fruits of their labor in the lives of countless individuals who had been touched by their work. They understood that while they could not bring back the lives lost, they could ensure that their memory lived on, and that their message of love and compassion continued to resonate. They were determined to continue their fight to educate, to support, and to empower those who were vulnerable to the dangers of domestic violence. The foundation's story was one that would be told for generations to come, a testament to the power of love in the face of unimaginable loss. It was a narrative of resilience, of the human spirit's ability to overcome darkness and to emerge stronger. And as Christopher Lee Watts served his sentence, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a shining example of how one family's tragedy could lead to a movement that would change the world for the better. It was a story that would inspire others to take action, to speak out, and to work tirelessly to create a society where domestic violence was no longer tolerated. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of hope amidst the shadow of its namesake's dark legacy, a testament to the enduring strength of human spirit. Each volunteer, from the youngest to the oldest, brought a piece of their heart to the cause, driven by a shared vision of a world free from the horror that had claimed the Watts family. Donations flowed in from across the country, each contribution a vote of confidence in the foundation's mission, a belief that together they could overcome the darkness and foster a community that valued life and cherished the well-being of its members. The network of partners, from local businesses to international organizations, grew stronger, their collaboration a powerful force that reached far beyond the confines of their small community. The foundation's programs expanded, reaching out to schools, churches, and community centers to educate and empower individuals with the knowledge that domestic violence was not just a personal issue, but a societal one that required a collective response. Workshops, support groups, and educational campaigns became a cornerstone of their efforts, ensuring that the message of the foundation resonated with those who needed it most. Through the foundation's guidance, survivors found a safe haven, a place where they could share their stories without judgment and begin the healing process. But the foundation did not just focus on those who had already endured trauma. They aimed to prevent such heartache from occurring in the first place. They partnered with local law enforcement and mental health professionals to create comprehensive programs that addressed the root causes of domestic violence, including substance abuse, mental health challenges, and the cycle of violence that often began in childhood. The foundation's dedication to these initiatives was unwavering, and they were relentless in their pursuit of change. Year by year, the foundation's efforts bore fruit. More individuals sought help, more communities began to take notice, and the conversation around domestic violence shifted from one of silence to one of open dialogue and action. The foundation's story became one that was told not just in their own community, but across the nation and beyond, inspiring others to take up the mantle and work towards the same goals. Amidst the accolades and recognition, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation remained grounded in its mission. They honored the memory of the Watts family by ensuring that their tragedy would not be forgotten, but instead serve as a catalyst for positive change. They understood that their journey was one of continuous growth, of adapting and evolving to meet the changing needs of their community and the broader world. As the foundation celebrated its 5th anniversary, the mood was one of celebration, yet also of reflection. They had come a long way since that fateful day when Christopher Lee Watt's dark actions had cast a shadow over their lives. But the foundation had turned that darkness into a beacon of light, a symbol of the resilience and determination that lay within each of them. The future was bright, and the Watts Family Memorial Foundation was ready to embrace it. They knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but they also knew that with each step forward, they were one step closer to their ultimate goal of creating a world where every individual could live free from fear and abuse. The foundation continued to inspire others to join their cause, to stand with them in the fight for a safer, more compassionate society. And in the hearts of all who worked alongside them, the legacy of the Watts family lived on, not as a reminder of loss, but as a powerful testament to the enduring power of love, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to make the world a better place. In the heart of a small town forever marred by darkness, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of light, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who had lost so much yet found the courage to rise above the pain. Founded in the wake of the tragic murders of the Watts family, it was a place where memories were honored and lessons were learned. The foundation's leaders, determined to ensure that the lives of the victims were not in vain, worked tirelessly to raise awareness about domestic violence and to provide resources for those in need. As the years passed, the foundation grew, not just in size but in the depth of its impact. Volunteer numbers swelled, with individuals from all walks of life coming together to lend a hand, to share their stories, and to offer support to those who had experienced similar horrors. The donations poured in, each contribution a token of solidarity and a promise to continue the fight. Partnerships with local organizations, national advocacy groups, and even international entities formed, creating a network that spanned the globe and united those who believed in the foundation's mission. Each event, from the candlelight vigils that brought the community together in remembrance to the workshops that educated on the signs of abuse and the importance of intervention, was meticulously planned and executed with care. The foundation's staff, a close-knit group of compassionate professionals, worked tirelessly to ensure that every program, every resource, was accessible and effective. They knew that the road to healing was long and fraught with challenges, but they were steadfast in their commitment to guiding others along it. The foundation's story was told through the countless stories of survivors who found solace in sharing their experiences. These narratives, raw and often heart-wrenching, served as a powerful reminder that each person had a voice and that each voice mattered. The foundation became a safe space for those who had been silenced by violence, a place where they could find support and the strength to move forward. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic, not in the false hope of forgetting, but in the knowledge that through their efforts, they were making a difference. The growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners were not just statistics. They were proof that change was possible, that together they could create a ripple effect that would reach far and wide. The foundation's leaders were not naive to the fact that the fight against domestic violence was a monumental one, that it required a sustained effort and unwavering dedication. But they were hopeful because they saw the seeds they had planted beginning to sprout. They saw the young children who had learned to recognize the signs of abuse and the adults who had found the courage to leave toxic relationships. They saw the families who had been reunited and the lives that had been saved. The foundation's story was one of loss and grief, a narrative that would never be erased from the town's history. But it was also a story of hope and resilience, a tale that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength. It was a story that celebrated the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the human spirit, a place where love and remembrance were not in conflict but in harmony. It was a place where the pain of the past could coexist with the promise of a brighter future, a place where every life mattered, and where every act of kindness, every word of support, and every effort to prevent another tragedy was a step towards a more compassionate world. In the heart of a small, tight-knit community, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had taken root, a living testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to rise above the darkness. The story of Christopher Lee Watts and the tragic loss of his family had seared itself into the collective consciousness, not as a cautionary tale, but as a catalyst for change. The foundation, a beacon of hope in the aftermath, had been established to honor the memory of those who had suffered at the hands of a monster, and to ensure that their deaths were not in vain. Year after year, the foundation's reach grew wider, its mission more profound. Through educational programs, support groups, and awareness campaigns, they aimed to dismantle the silence that often shrouded domestic violence. The numbers of volunteers swelled, each one bringing their own unique skills and passion to the cause. Donations rolled in, a testament to the generosity of those touched by the foundation's work. Partnerships with local businesses, government agencies, and national organizations multiplied, forming a powerful coalition dedicated to the same goal: to end domestic violence and to protect the vulnerable within their communities. The Foundation's programs were diverse and impactful, from hosting workshops on recognizing the signs of abuse to providing safe havens for those in immediate danger. They organized community walks, art exhibitions, and film screenings, each event designed to engage and educate, to provoke thought and action. The stories shared by survivors, the tales of resilience and recovery, became the bedrock of their mission. They were not just narratives of pain, but stories of survival, of finding the courage to break free from cycles of violence and to rebuild lives shattered by abuse. As the foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's leadership, a diverse group of individuals who had been touched by the Watts family tragedy in various ways, were united in their vision. They were determined to ensure that the legacy of the Watts family would live on not just in memory, but in action. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. They were not just a foundation, they were a family, a community, a movement. The Foundation's work was relentless, their message clear: no one deserves to live in fear, no one should suffer in silence. They fought tirelessly for policy changes, pushing for stricter laws and more accessible resources. They advocated for mental health services, recognizing that many victims of domestic violence also struggle with mental health issues. They worked tirelessly to educate the public, to dismantle stereotypes, and to build a society where violence was not tolerated. The Foundation's commitment to the community extended beyond the immediate circle of those affected by domestic violence. They recognized that the impact of such violence rippled outward, affecting friends, neighbors, and society as a whole. Through their efforts, they sought to foster a culture of respect and equality, to promote healthy relationships, and to empower individuals to take a stand against abuse. The Foundation's annual gala, a highlight of the year, brought together luminaries from all walks of life, from activists and survivors to celebrities and philanthropists. The event was a showcase of the Foundation's achievements, a celebration of the lives that had been saved, and a reminder of the work that still needed to be done. The speeches, the testimonials, the performances, all serve to underscore the importance of their mission and the urgency of their cause. Yet, the Foundation's journey was not without its challenges. There were moments of doubt and frustration, times when it seemed that progress was slow and incremental, but the passion that fueled their work never waned. They were driven by the memory of the Watts family, by the stories of those who had survived, and by the knowledge that every small victory was a step closer to a world free from domestic violence. As the Foundation moved forward, they remained steadfast in their belief that change was possible. They were encouraged by the growing number of allies, the increasing public awareness, and the positive feedback from those whose lives they had touched. They were inspired by the young students who participated in their educational programs, the couples who sought counseling after attending their workshops, and the community members who joined their cause. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation had become more than just a foundation. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times there was light. It was a testament to the power of love, the strength of community, and the relentless pursuit of justice. As the foundation continued to grow and evolve, they were mindful of the lessons learned from the tragic events that had given birth to their existence. They were cautious not to lose sight of the personal stories behind the statistics, the faces and names of those who had suffered and those who had fought back. They were committed to ensuring that their work would honor the memory of the Watts family and all those who had lost their lives to domestic violence. In the years that followed, the foundation expanded its reach, establishing chapters across the country and even internationally. They partnered with global organizations, sharing their knowledge and resources, and helping to create a network of support that spanned the globe. The foundation's influence grew, and with it, the hope that they could truly make a difference. And so, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation remained a beacon of light, a shining example of what could be achieved when love and compassion were combined with the unwavering determination to create a better world. They had come a long way from the days of darkness and despair, but their journey was far from over. There was still much work to be done, many lives to touch, and a legacy to build upon. The foundation stood as a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of hope, and the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to accept the status quo. The story of the Watts Family Memorial Foundation was a story of transformation, of turning tragedy into triumph, and of the enduring human spirit. It was a story that would continue to inspire generations to come, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, it is possible to find the strength to fight back, to heal, and to build a future that is safe, just, and filled with love. In the quiet of the evening, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation met once more in the small, cozy conference room that held more memories than most people's entire lifetimes. The walls were adorned with photographs of victims, plaques with names and dates, and letters of gratitude from those whose lives had been touched by the Foundation's tireless efforts. As the meeting commenced, the mood was a mix of solemnity and resolve, with each member present feeling the weight of the Foundation's mission deeply in their hearts. "We've come a long way," began the founder, Sarah Watts, her voice steady despite the emotion that threatened to overflow. "From the initial shock and horror to the formation of this foundation, we've been through so much. But every step of the way, we've been guided by a single, unwavering purpose: to honor the lives lost, to prevent future victims, and to create a safer, more compassionate community." The members nodded in agreement, their eyes reflecting the same determination. Over the years, the foundation had grown from a small group of friends and family into a respected organization with a reach that spanned across the country. They had organized workshops on domestic violence awareness, hosted support groups for survivors, and lobbied for stricter laws to protect those at risk. Their work had not gone unnoticed, and they had garnered the support of countless volunteers, donors, and partners. "Look at us now," Sarah continued, her gaze sweeping over the room. "We have an incredible team, dedicated individuals who have chosen to be a part of this fight, and our efforts are paying off. More people are becoming aware of the signs of abuse, more survivors are finding the strength to come forward, and more lives are being saved. But we cannot be complacent. The fight against domestic violence is a marathon, not a sprint. As she spoke, a slideshow began to play on the projector, showcasing the Foundation's most significant achievements. There were images of volunteers distributing literature in busy shopping centers, survivors sharing their stories at community events, and law enforcement officers and policymakers being educated on the complexities of domestic abuse. The room was filled with a sense of pride and accomplishment, but also with a keen awareness of the work that remained. Remember, Sarah emphasized, her voice rising with passion, this is not just about numbers or statistics. This is about real people, families torn apart by violence, children growing up in fear, and individuals who have been left to heal from wounds that seem impossible to mend. We have to keep our focus on them, on the pain they have endured, and the lives they deserve to live. The meeting adjourned with a renewed sense of purpose, each member leaving with a clearer vision of their roles within the Foundation. They knew that while they had made significant strides, the fight was far from over. They had to continue to advocate for change, to support survivors, and to educate the public on the realities of domestic violence. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. Workshops were planned, donations were processed, and letters were written to those who had supported the Foundation through the years. There was a sense of urgency in the air, a feeling that the Foundation was at a critical juncture in its mission. As the months passed, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation saw its influence grow. The media began to take notice, running stories on the Foundation's impact and the lives it had touched. Schools started incorporating domestic violence education into their curricula, and businesses began to offer employee training programs on recognizing and responding to abuse. The Foundation's reach extended beyond its original community, inspiring similar organizations to form in other cities and states. One particularly poignant moment came when a group of young students, moved by the Foundation's mission, organized a fundraiser. They sold handmade crafts and baked goods, raising enough money to sponsor a week-long retreat for survivors. The retreat, held in a serene location, provided a safe space for women to share their experiences, seek support, and find healing. It was a testament to the power of community and the ripple effect that the Foundation's work had created. Sarah Watts, along with the rest of the Foundation's board, stood on the retreat's final day, looking out over the group of women who had gathered. They had come from all walks of life, some with stories of escape, others with tales of ongoing struggle, but all with a common goal, to find strength and solace in one another's presence. "Thank you," Sarah said, her voice breaking slightly. "Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey, for trusting us with your stories, and for giving us the honor of witnessing your resilience. We will never forget you, and we will continue to fight for you." As the women responded with their own words of gratitude, the Foundation's members felt a profound sense of fulfillment. They knew that their work was not in vain, that every effort, every donation, every volunteer hour had contributed to a greater cause. And while the road ahead was long and fraught with challenges, they were undeterred, determined to ensure that the legacy of the Watts family would be one of hope and healing. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation became a beacon of light in a world that too often ignored the darkness of domestic violence. Their story, one of loss and pain, had evolved into a tale of resilience and triumph, a testament to the enduring power of love, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to creating a better world for all. As they continued to stand as a testament to this cause, they knew that their mission was far from complete, but that each step forward, no matter how small, brought them closer to their ultimate goal. In the shadow of the Watts family murders, the Foundation's mission was clear and unwavering, to honor the memory of those lost and to ensure that their lives were not in vain. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, a harrowing tale that had shocked the nation and left an indelible mark on the hearts of many. Yet, amidst the darkness, there was a glimmer of hope, a beacon of light that would guide the Foundation forward. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's leaders, driven by a deep sense of purpose, worked tirelessly to ensure that the voices of the victims were heard and that their stories would never be forgotten. The Foundation's programs were diverse, ranging from educational workshops on domestic violence to support groups for survivors. They organized community events that brought people together to discuss the issue, to share their experiences, and to learn from one another. They collaborated with local law enforcement agencies to improve response protocols and with mental health professionals to provide the necessary support to those affected by domestic violence. As the Foundation grew, so did the number of success stories. There were instances where individuals who had been on the brink of despair found the courage to seek help, thanks to the Foundation's outreach efforts. There were families who had been torn apart by domestic violence that found strength in the Foundation's support and were able to rebuild their lives. Each success story was a testament to the Foundation's impact and a reminder of the importance of their work. The Foundation's leaders were also determined to raise awareness about the broader issues surrounding domestic violence, including the economic, social, and psychological consequences it had on individuals and communities. They partnered with schools to implement anti-violence curricula and with businesses to promote healthy workplace environments. They worked with media outlets to ensure that stories of domestic violence were told with sensitivity and accuracy, and they advocated for policy changes at the local, state, and federal levels. Despite the challenges they faced, the Foundation remained steadfast in its mission. They were not deterred by the complexities of the issue or the emotional toll it took on them. They were fueled by the stories of those who had found hope through their efforts and by the knowledge that they were making a difference. The Foundation's annual memorial service, a solemn yet uplifting event, brought together friends, family, and supporters to remember the victims and to celebrate their lives. As the years passed, the Foundation continued to evolve and adapt to the changing needs of the community. They introduced new initiatives, such as a scholarship program for survivors of domestic violence and a hotline for those in crisis. They expanded their reach, partnering with international organizations to share their knowledge and resources with those in other countries. The Foundation's work was no longer confined to a single city or state. It was a global effort to combat domestic violence and to promote a culture of respect and equality. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation became a symbol of resilience and hope, a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. It was a story that would inspire generations to come, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. And so, the Foundation continued to stand as a beacon of light, a shining example of what could be achieved when a community comes together to support one another and to fight for a future free from domestic violence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the small town of Colorado Springs, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation stood as a beacon of hope amidst the shadows of the past. Founded in the aftermath of the tragic murders that had left 4 lives in ruins, the Foundation had become a symbol of healing and change. The walls of their modest office were adorned with photographs of the Watts family, smiling and living their lives, a stark contrast to the grim reality that had unfolded. The staff, a tight-knit group of volunteers, worked tirelessly to keep the Foundation's mission alive. Each day brought new volunteers, people moved by the story of the Watts family and determined to make a difference. They came from all walks of life, each bringing their own unique skills and perspectives, but all united by a common goal. The donations began to pour in, not just in money, but in stories and experiences that resonated with the pain and the strength of the Foundation's cause. Partnerships with local organizations, national advocacy groups, and even international entities strengthened, creating a powerful network that reached far beyond the confines of Colorado Springs. The Foundation's events, from awareness campaigns to fundraising galas, became milestones in the community, drawing attention to the silent epidemic of domestic violence. They organized workshops, training sessions, and support groups, all aimed at providing resources and support to those affected by such violence. They worked with schools to educate children about the signs of abuse and the importance of seeking help when needed. They collaborated with law enforcement agencies to improve protocols and ensure that victims received the protection and assistance they deserved. Yet, as the Foundation grew, it never lost sight of its roots. The stories of the Watts family were shared with every new volunteer, every donor, and every partner. They were reminders of the darkness that can lurk behind closed doors, the lives that can be shattered in an instant. But they were also tales of love and family, of the bonds that can endure even the most devastating of losses. Through these stories, the Foundation found its strength, its resilience. One particularly poignant event was the annual vigil, held on the anniversary of the murders. The town would gather, lighting candles, holding signs that read "No More Silence," and sharing their stories of hope and survival. It was a night of remembrance, a night of healing, and a night of commitment to a future free from such tragedy. The Foundation's president, a woman who had lost her own family to domestic violence, stood before the crowd, her voice steady and filled with emotion. "We stand here today not as victims but as survivors," she declared. "We stand here not just for the Watts family, but for every family that has ever known the pain of domestic violence. We stand here for a world where love is protected, where compassion prevails, and where no one has to face this darkness alone." As the crowd roared their approval, the Foundation's mission became crystal clear. They were not just a foundation, but a movement, a force for good that would not be deterred. With each passing year, they continued to grow, to expand their reach, and to make a tangible difference in the lives of those affected by domestic violence. They were the Watts Family Memorial Foundation, a testament to the power of love, the strength of human spirit, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. In the heart of a small town, the Watts Family Memorial Foundation had taken root, a garden of remembrance that bloomed in the shadow of loss. It was a place where the memory of Christopher Lee Watts and his victims was honored, where every flower and every stone told a story of heartache and hope. The Foundation's mission was clear: to prevent domestic violence, to raise awareness, and to offer support to those who had suffered at the hands of abusers. As the years passed, the Foundation grew, its reach expanding beyond the confines of the local community to touch hearts across the nation. Volunteers, once few and scattered, now numbered in the hundreds, each one driven by a personal commitment to the cause. They were a diverse group, united by a common goal, and their efforts were manifold. They organized workshops, spoke at schools, and reached out to shelters, ensuring that those in need knew they were not alone. Donations, once a trickle, became a steady stream, providing the Foundation with the resources it needed to continue its work. The money went towards funding support services, creating educational materials, and maintaining the Foundation's presence at events and conferences. Partnerships were forged with local businesses, nonprofit organizations, and even government agencies, all united in their desire to combat domestic violence. These collaborations allowed the Foundation to offer a comprehensive approach, ensuring that no stone was left unturned in the fight to protect vulnerable individuals. The Foundation's website became a hub of information, a place where survivors could find resources, stories of hope, and a community of allies. As the Foundation looked to the future, they were optimistic. They saw the growing number of volunteers, the increasing number of donations, and the expanding network of partners who were committed to their cause. They knew that with continued support and dedication, they could make a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals and help to prevent future tragedies. The Foundation's story was one of loss and grief, but it was also one of hope and resilience. It was a story that showed that even in the face of unimaginable pain, it was possible to find strength and to turn tragedy into triumph. The founders, who had once been in the depths of despair, had emerged as beacons of light, their voices growing louder and more determined with each passing day. One of the founders, a woman named Emily, often spoke of her own journey. "It was a long and difficult road," she would say, her voice tinged with emotion. "But every time I hear a survivor say they found strength in our story, it makes it all worth it." She would then recount the tale of how the foundation came to be, starting with a simple conversation between friends who realized they were not alone in their grief and determination to make a difference. Another founder, a man named James, would often share his experiences working with survivors. "They are the ones who inspire us," he would say. "Their strength, their resilience, their willingness to share their stories despite the pain. It's a reminder that we can all overcome anything if we have the courage to face it." As the foundation celebrated its 5th anniversary, the community gathered to honor the lives of the Watts family and to celebrate the progress that had been made. There were speeches, songs, and a candlelight vigil, a poignant reminder of the lives that had been lost and the lives that had been saved. The foundation's story was one that had resonated with many, and it was a story that was just beginning to unfold. In the years that followed, the foundation continued to grow, its work becoming more impactful with each passing day. They launched a groundbreaking program that provided free legal assistance to survivors of domestic violence, ensuring that they had the support they needed to navigate the complex legal system. They developed a mobile app that offered real-time support and resources, making it easier for survivors to access help when they needed it most. The foundation also began to focus on prevention, working with schools to implement programs that educated students about healthy relationships and the signs of abuse. They partnered with local law enforcement to improve training on domestic violence, ensuring that officers were better equipped to respond to incidents and offer support to survivors. As the foundation celebrated its 10th anniversary, the community once again came together to reflect on the progress that had been made. There were tears, there were cheers, and there were countless stories of lives that had been changed for the better. The founders stood on stage, their faces shining with pride and gratitude. "We couldn't have done this without each and every one of you," Emily said, her voice filled with emotion. "Your support, your dedication, your willingness to stand with us in this fight, it's what has made all the difference." James nodded in agreement. "It's a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all," he added. As the crowd erupted in applause, the founders knew that their work was far from over. There were still many battles to be fought, many lives to be saved, and many hearts to be touched. But they also knew that they were not alone in this fight. They had the support of their community, the unwavering commitment of their volunteers, and the hope that fueled their mission. The Watts Family Memorial Foundation continued to stand as a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering determination to create a better world for all. And as long as there was hope, there would be a foundation to fight for those who needed it most.